Hi, and welcome back to our Ask the Agronomist video series. I am Phil Long, Precision Agronomy Advisor with Latham High-Tech Seeds. This week we're out in the plots talking about IDC. Iron Deficiency Chlorosis in soybeans is a hot topic every year, especially in Latham country. But this year it seems like we're talking about a little later than normal. We have some later plantings up north, but even here in Iowa we still seeing IDC symptoms. Actually, there's a couple plots just behind me that you can probably see that have been showing IDC here for the last couple weeks and struggling through it. So typically we think about IDC when it's cool and wet and things like that, but there's a lot of other things that can play into it. Obviously it's not cold, the soils aren't cold right now. Root growth could be slow, but there's a lot of other things that play into this. So high pH areas, it's typically related to soil type. Lower lying areas, ones that tend to be higher in pH. If we could drain those and lower that water table and move that free lime down, then we wouldn't have as much of an issue, but that's typically a challenge. So those heavy wet soils that stay wet and stay high in pH. The other thing you can try and not do is avoid over applying fertilizers as well. A lot of nitrogen, phosphorus. If you don't get the yield out of those areas, then over applying nitrogen is not going to help IDC, because if you have a lot of carryover nitrogen, that can also exacerbate the problem and make it worse. So anything that can help increase the amount of iron that these plants are taking up is good. So let's start off with the symptoms. Obviously interveinal chlorosis, and it's iron, so it's not mobile in the plant, so you're going to see it in the top leaves. The youngest, newest leaves are going to be showing up. So if you had something like there's a lot of herbicide issues, it seems like every year. If it was something like atrazine or something carryover, typically you'd probably see those more in the lower or older leaves. IDC should be showing up at the very top of the plant as the new leaves emerge. This plant here is a very small one, but it's severely stunted by IDC, so as those new leaves come out, they're going to continue to show that yellowing, even browning or necrosis between the leaf veins. That's what you'll end up seeing with it. So what are some of the things we can do about it? While we're standing in our IDC plot here, the best thing that you can do is select varieties that are tolerant or resistant, more resistant than other varieties to IDC. So our ironclad soybean lineup is extremely important when it comes to IDC, making sure that those varieties are more resistant to it. This is a great time also to go out and check out those varieties and make sure you can see that nice visual comparison across varieties and how the genetics and stuff change and how they can handle it better than other varieties. Some of the other things that you could do, this plot here in particular we're standing in, is a higher seeding rate. This is an option as well. So there's actually 220,000 plants here. We've got a lineup of 2 different varieties and a couple different seeding rates, but 220,000. So the idea is getting more roots out there. The closer together you have those roots, these roots exude acid during the season, especially early on too, to help release that iron and make it into a form that the plant can take up. So the more roots you have out there, the closer they are. Obviously they're saturating that soil with more of that acid to help convert that iron into a more available form for the plants. The other option is look at treating it. So if you still have challenges with IDC, even using tolerant varieties, and you're still seeing some really tough areas, it might be worth looking at an iron product, a chelated iron product specifically. There's a lot of different options out on the market. Just make sure it's chelated in a form that will be able to handle the pHs in your soil. It's important. Things like Soy Green is one of the more popular ones, one of the ones we've tried here. But obviously using that in furrow early season puts it right in the root zone so that these plants can get off to a good start until they really start exploring more of the soil volume and start to get more iron, have more iron at their disposal. So that's a couple important tips when you're thinking about IDC. Remember, this is one thing that planning ahead is really crucial. So as you're out there right now looking at IDC symptoms, thinking about what you can do in the future, there's not a lot of things you can do right now. I get asked that a lot, but rescue treatments are not that really successful. I actually sprayed these plots behind me just last week with a similar chelated iron product, and like it typically would do, greens up the leaves. They get hit by the spray. It's not very mobile. It's not going to move around top to bottom, or new leaves, old leaves, things like that. It's not going to move in the plant. It just greens it up for that time. Something you have to do several times, and you're just really seeing a greening effect. It's not necessarily helping with yield. So the top things I mentioned, obviously variety selection is the #1 thing you can do, and then looking at a chelated iron product that would fit your soils is the next best thing you can do. So if you have any questions about IDC, please feel free to reach out to us at 1-877-GO-LATHAM or visit us on our website at lathamseeds.com. Thanks for watching this week's Ask the Agronomist.